You guys, and welcome back to yet another video. In today's lesson, we're going to learn how to subtract a mixed number from a mixed number. And we're going to do this by using the counting up strategy. Now, I know you're probably wondering, why in the world do I have a centipede on my screen? And the answer is pretty simple. It's because we're actually going to be using the centipede's body in order to use the counting up strategy. You'll see what I mean in a second. In our first problem, I have 4 3/8 minus 2 5/8. And I know, you guys, that I don't know the answer. I don't know what the answer is to this problem quite yet. But what I do know is the answer plus 2 5/8 would give me the sum of 4 3/8. If that doesn't make sense, maybe this will. Imagine 4 3/8 is just a whole number. So let's imagine that 4 3/8 is just 4 wholes and 2 5/8 is just 2 wholes. And I'm looking for the difference. We already know that 4 minus 2 equals 2. And I also know that 2 plus 2 gives me the sum of 4. So it's the same thing when we're looking at 2 5/8 plus whatever our answer is. I'm going to add these two together in order to get 4 3/8. Does it sort of make a little bit more sense now? Let's go ahead and try this problem out. So remember, we're using the counting up strategy. So I know that I want to end at 4 3/8 because that's my largest mixed number. So 4 3/8, let's go ahead and put that at the end of our centipede's body. Now, where am I beginning? What's going to go in this first body part? If you said 2 5/8, you're absolutely correct. So now, you guys, I'm going to count up in order to figure out what's going to go in this next body part. So guys, remember, when we're counting up, we're making sure that we're going to the next whole number. So what's the next whole number from 2 5/8? Awesome job, 3 wholes. And now, you guys, let's ask ourselves, 2 5/8 plus blank equals 3. In other words, let's pretend that this 2 isn't here. How many more 8s do I need to add to 5/8 to get to 1 whole? Awesome job. I'm adding 3 8s. Look at us filling in our body. As we're going, the centipede's body is now filling out. So I have 2 5/8 plus 3/8 equals 3 wholes. Now, you guys, let's look over at our last body part. I have 4 3/8. So what am I going to count up to in order to get closest to 4 3/8? Remember, we can only count up to whole numbers. Awesome, I'm putting 4 wholes here because remember, our body parts can only have whole numbers in between our 2 original fractions. So now I'm going to ask myself, well, what did I add 3 to in order to get to 4? Absolutely, I added 1 whole because 3 plus 1 equals 4. And now, you guys, our body parts are all filled in, but we're missing one thing. I don't know what I'm adding 4 wholes to in order to get 4 3/8. Do you know? Awesome job. I'm adding 3 8s. So now that our entire body is filled in, we can now focus on our fractions and whole numbers at the top. So I'm going to use different numbers to represent different types of numbers, fractions and whole numbers. So at the top of our centipede, I have 3 8s plus 1 whole plus 3 8s. And you guys, all I'm doing is just filling it in on the bottom, and then I'm now going to add them together. Adding like terms, 3 8s plus 3 8s equals 6 8s. And then I'm simply just bringing down my 1 whole. So 4 3/8 minus 2 5/8 equals 1 6/8. I also know I can add 1 and 6/8 to 2 and 5/8, and I will get 4 and 3/8. And that's the same thing we did at the bottom and the top of our centipede. Let's try another problem. In this problem, I have 2 and 5/12, and I want to take away 1 and 8/12. So you guys, I know, again, I don't know the answer, but what I do know is whatever this answer is, I'm adding to 1 and 8/12 to get to 2 and 5/12. So I know that 2 and 5/12 is going to be at the end of my centipede's body. So what's going to go at the beginning of my centipede's body? Awesome, I'm putting 1 and 8/12 at the beginning. And now you guys, I'm just going to fill it in by counting up. Remember, when we're counting up, we're going to the next whole number. So guys, what's the next whole number if I'm counting up from 1 and 8/12? Awesome job, 2 wholes. And now we're going to ask ourselves, 1 and 8/12 plus something equals 2 wholes. In other words, 8/12 plus how many more 12s equals 12/12. Awesome job, 4/12. So now I filled in my first 2 body parts. 1 and 8/12 plus 4/12 equals 2 wholes. Now I want us to pause for a second, and I want us to look at our end point. We want to end at 2 and 5/12. However, we're already at 2 wholes. So does it really make sense for us to count up to another whole number, which would actually be 3? No, that doesn't make much sense. But what does make sense is for us to figure out what I'm adding 2 wholes to in order to get to 2 wholes and 5/12. Do you think you know? Do you know what I can add to 2 wholes to get 2 wholes and 5/12? Awesome job. I'm adding 5/12. So you'll notice we actually did not need this other body part for this problem. And now we're going to focus on the top of our centipede. So same as before, I'm adding my top numbers and fractions together. This time I have no whole numbers. Instead, I have 5/12 and 4/12, and I'm adding them together. Do you guys know the sum? Absolutely. I have 9/12. So 2 and 5/12 minus 1 and 8/12 equals 9/12. You guys, let's try one more problem. In this problem, I want you to do this problem with me. So get your paper and get your pencil. Let's work through this problem together. 9 and 2/6 minus 3 and 5/6. Remember, we don't know the answer, but whatever the answer is, we can add it to 3 and 5/6 to get 9 and 2/6. So where am I putting 9 and 2/6 on my centipede's body? Awesome job. I'm putting it right at the end because that's where I want to end. I want to end with 9 and 2/6. And where is 3 and 5/6 going on my centipede's body? Awesome job. It's going right at the beginning because that's where I'm starting. Now you guys, let's count up to our next body part. If I'm counting up to the next whole number, what would be in this body part? Awesome job, 4 wholes. Now you guys, we know what comes next. 3 and 5/6 plus what equals 4 wholes? In other words, 5/6 plus how many more 6 gets me to 6/6. Awesome job, 5/6 plus 1/6. So now I have 3 and 5/6 plus 1/6 equals 4 wholes. Remember, we need to end at 9 and 2/6. but I don't have a lot of body parts left. So I'm going to ask myself, what is going to go in this next body part? Remember, I need to get all the way from 4 wholes to 9 2/6. Is there a whole number that's close to 9 2/6 that I can put here? Absolutely, I can put 9 wholes there. And now I'm going to ask myself, what am I going to add 4 to in order to get to 9? Awesome job. I'm adding 5 wholes because 4 plus 5 equals 9. Now I'm left with my last 2 body parts. 9 plus something equals 9 2/6. What am I going to add 9 to in order to get to 9 2/6? Awesome job. I'm adding 2/6. So now you guys, we already know what we're doing next. We're adding our fractions and our mixed numbers from the top. So I have 1/6 plus 5 wholes plus 2/6. Combining like terms, 1/6 plus 1/6 equals 3/6. And then I'm just simply bringing down my 5 wholes. So 9 2/6 minus 3 5/6 equals 5 3/6.